I don't know, ate some of this lipstick off. Come on in, come on in, come on in. I hope that y'all are well. So this is going to be good. I'm really excited about today. I know I'm coming on a little, well, this time is kind of around the same time that I tend to come around. But I'm going to be telling you 5 writing acts that rewire your nervous system step by step. So come on in, come on in, come on in. While I get, hold on, make sure I'm pulling out my notes. Come on in, come on in. Hi, Lovey. Put a 1 in the comments if you can hear me clearly. And also let me know where you're watching from. Come on in, come on in. I'm just moving this over, because y'all know I be on my iPad with my notes. So I'm moving something over that I had in one section to another. Hey, from PA. I still, I've been to Pennsylvania once, and I actually went to Philly, but it was for such a short period of time. I didn't stay long, but I said that I wanted to go back. Come on in, come on in, come on in. And put a 1 in the comments if you can hear me clearly, and let me know where you're watching from. I'm going to be talking about the 5 writing acts that rewire your nervous system. People talk about rewiring your nervous system, but they never tell you how you can actually do it. And we're going to talk about that step by step today using writing. Sounds crazy, but it absolutely works. So come on in, come on in, come on in. I heard it's a lot to do. And I know somebody there, so I need to make a trip. I keep saying that. I gotta get back on my moving around kick, because I've been sitting down for a minute, especially like since my dad passed. So I've been kind of sitting, but I'm gonna get back to it for sure. Come on in, come on in, come on in. I hope that y'all are well. My name is Elle Antoinette, and I have finally decided on what I want my title to be, because I had shifted to a human system strategist, but the more I kind of dug into that, it felt like I was talking more about IT, even though I could explain what it is. I just felt like it wasn't as clear. So I wanted to get extremely clear. And so I have my new title is Psychological Identity Strategist, okay? And so what I do specifically is I help high functioning women. I help them become self-led through emotional authority. And I came to that realization by really assessing all of the things that I do and the results that I get from my clients. So women who come to work with me get 1 of 3 results, or they get all 3 results. Number 1, they make more money. Number 2, they get healthier. Number 3, they end up attracting better community and having better relationships with the masculine. So a lot of women that come to work with me, we do a lot of intense work. So in my line of work, the things that we tend to focus on is identity reconstruction, psychological transformation, deep human patterning, behavior architecture, and real expertise. So these are the things that we really just kind of focus and hone in on. And so a part of what I'm going to be teaching today is supporting you in being able to do so, okay? Of course, for those of you who don't know, I'm having a masterclass on Wednesday. It's going to be amazing. It's called Words Become Flesh, the Invisible Contracts that we write. And so I'm going to talk a little bit more about that today as well. But back to this. rewiring of your nervous system. It is so vital and so important. My clients, the women that tend to come to work with me, are they're successful women. They've achieved, they got the degrees, they've done this, they've made some money, they've done these things, but they still can't seem to get a hold of their emotions. Like I said, the women that come to work with me, they get one of those three results. They make more money, they get healthier, they attract better men, they attract better community. But the problem or the root issue of why they weren't able to do those things before is rooted in their emotions, is rooted in their ability or their inability to be an authority over their emotions. If you are a person who is ruled by your emotions, 9 times out of 10, you're probably a high level overthinker. 9 times out of 10, you're emotionally reactive instead of responsive. And these are things that hold you back, block your money, stop you from having the relationships you want to have, and keep weight on you. And I'm telling you this as someone who used to be 100 pounds heavier. I don't even feel like pulling out no pictures today, but I used to be 100 pounds heavier. I used to work like three jobs. I was working full time as a social worker with the Department of Children's Services. I was what else was I doing? A permanent artist at MAC Cosmetics. I was working at MAC because I love makeup. And then I also had a bridal business that was booming where I was clocking like $1,500 days. But ask me why I couldn't keep no money. With all of that, ask me why I could not keep any money. Like, how am I making all of this money, but I'm not being able to keep any of it? That's because my energy was very, very scattered. And I'm going to do a TikTok on this. It's not going to be a TikTok live, but it's going to be a short TikTok. I already wrote out the content on why extremely powerful women, spiritually powerful women, tend to not be able to keep money in their hands. And one of the biggest things about that is that your energy is scattered. Your energy is every single place. You're trying to do everything. One minute you do taxes, the next minute you do hair, the next minute you do this, the next minute you do that. There is no container, there is no vehicle, there are no systems to set you up for the success that you want. And so when I stopped doing all of that and I got very, very clear on myself, right? I started to get myself together. Should I just quit a part-time job because I couldn't keep it? Yeah. When I started to realize, like, thank you so much. When I started to realize, like, I can't keep going on like this was when I had my spiritual awakening in 2017. And when I had my spiritual awakening in 2017, and I realized that I could be able to create income from my intel, from the gifts that were given to me from the creator, I began to focus more so on that. And then I went into business for myself in 2020, where I took it really serious. And here we are now. I'm a multi-six-figure CEO of a multi-six-figure ecosystem. So I've been able to build 0 to multi-six figures in a short amount of time. I've been able to do it without hustling. I've been able to do it without having to have 5, 6, 7, 8 different jobs. And right now I'm actually writing a series on Substack. If you're a reader, go sign up for the Red Knowledge Tree, because I have a Substack over there where I'm breaking down every single part of the ecosystem and how you can use the same system to build your own 6-figure or multi-6-figure ecosystem for yourself. I'm not gatekeeping. I'm not holding back. I'm not doing any of those things. You're going to have to read though. So if you're a person who reads and who implements, go over there and sign up for the Red Knowledge Tree, because that's going to support you. If you become a paid member, you get the strategy. If you are a free member, you get the awareness of things. So you decide where you are, go over there, sign up, have at it. Okay. We talk about amazing things over there. So anywho, so because I was doing all of that, I was extremely exhausted. I was 100 pounds heavier. I was working those jobs. I couldn't keep any money. My relationships with men were just absolutely in the dumps. They were terrible because I was choosing based on me not being in tune with myself, not understanding my value, and my magnetism not being activated. I can tell you, as a person who used to be 100 pounds heavier, that when you put on weight, and it's not weight that you're putting on in a sense to gain muscle or anything like that, you start to lose your magnetism. You start not to feel like yourself. If this is something intentionally that you're doing, then that's a different experience. But if you're just putting it on because you're just not being aware of self and you're doing this and you're doing that, that puts you in position to lose your magnetism or to, decrease, okay, your magnetism. So it's very, very important and extremely, extremely, extremely vital that you grasp that being in tune with yourself is extremely important. Being in tune with your energy is extremely important. Being in tune with the fullness of who you are is important, because it will literally position you to, how can I describe it? just basically lose your magnetism. And when you lose your magnetism, that's when you start to settle, you start to do things or position yourself to be in a space to where you settle for things that you normally would not settle for. So I always explain to women, like, you want to be in a space where you are operating at the fullness of yourself and the fullness of your authentic design as a woman, especially in the fullness of your femininity. And you don't have to exhaust yourself to oblivion to be able to build great things. You don't have to exhaust yourself to oblivion to be in a healthy relationship. You don't have to exhaust yourself to oblivion to make money. These are all things that programs that society has put in your mind that you have to kind of free yourself from if you want to be in a position to be able to receive the desires of your heart. Okay, so that's something that's very important. So I'm going to give you 5 ways for you to be able to rewire your nervous system, because it's going to require you to rewire your nervous system, reprogram your mind, shift your focus onto the things that you really, really want. You know, you hear the 5 people around you make up, basically who you're going to become. So whoever you spend your time with the majority of the time, that's who you're going to be more like. That is very, very true. What you focus on, what you zone in on, what you set your mind on, that is what's going to end up happening. So if you are focusing on the negative aspects of things, all men are trash, this is that, this is that, this is going to consistently be your experience. If you were saying things like, okay, I don't have the capital in my hand right now, but it's in how can I say it? It's in flow. It's coming to me. Then you have the understanding that the money is coming to you versus you saying, oh, I need to make more money. And the next time you're tempted to say, I need to make more money, I want you to change that by saying, I need to position myself to receive more money. Okay? Put in the comments for me, position. Okay? Because I want you to understand. I want you to stop saying, I need to make more money. I want you to start saying, I need to put myself in position to receive more money. That is 2 different things that I'm saying right here. Okay? That's 2 different frequencies, vibrational states that I'm speaking on right here. You saying, I need to make money. When you automatically say, I need to make more money, put in the comments, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? When you hear somebody say, or when somebody says something to you, and they say, you need to make more money, what's the first thought that pops in your mind? Just be honest and put it in the comments for me. For me, I can tell you exactly struggle or work. I'm going to tell you what enters my mind. I need to make more money. Immediate overwhelm. Lack, job, immediate overwhelm, immediate, I got to go do something. That's the first thing that pops in your mind. I got to go do something. I got to struggle to get this money. I got to go to a job to get this money. I got to lack to get this money. That's what is basically what it's saying. Hi, Lovey. But if you're saying I need to position myself to receive more money, this means I need to look at what I have. I need to look at who I am. I need to look at what I possess. And I need to be able to articulate that innate value in such a way that people exchange value, for that type of value, they exchange money. Okay? That don't mean you need to go do nothing else. This means you need to take an assessment of what you already have going on. So that is one even simple way of you being able to shift how you think about things and how you are able to receive money. Money does not come to people who are anxious. There are 3 levels of money. Okay, so, and I'm going to tell you, what I'm going to talk about today, these 5 key areas. If you want to rewire your nervous system in regard to money, if you want to rewire your nervous system in regard to men, if you want to rewire your nervous system in regard to meals, as in food, because these are the 3 specific areas that women tend to come to me about that they are struggling with. And all of these are rooted in your inability to rewire your emotions, your inability to reprogram your mind, and you're living out of your wounds. And so we're going to talk about it today, because a lot of people are doing that, even with the things that you write. How it says in scripture, there's power of life and death in the tongue. How it also says in scripture, write the vision down and make it plain. How it also says in scripture, without a vision, the people will perish. I just told you 3 different things that are letting you know, thank you, Lovey, that are letting you know how powerful your words are, how powerful your writing is, and how powerful it is for you not to just be wandering around. Okay? The first thing I said was, there's power of life and death in the tongue. A lot of us walk around and we curse ourselves. We curse ourselves with our language. People are so worried about people cussing them out when you really need to be worrying about the curses that you speak over yourself, the curses that you speak onto other people that are returned to you. These are the things that you really need to be focusing on, because your words have extreme power. Just like I said just now, if you put in your mindset, I need to make more money, immediately you thinking struggle, overwhelm, I got to do something, versus I have to position myself to receive more money. See, that's a different frequency. That's a difference in words. So you have to pay attention to that. And let me tell you something. For those of you who are saying that you are believers, you're going to be weighed by the things that your words. Your tests are derived from the things that you say. So you have to be very, very careful about the things that you're saying. So that's number one. Number two, I'm talking about how it says, write the vision down and make it plain. The reason why it's so important for you to write the vision down and make it plain because without a vision, the people will perish. Do you know why most divorces hit? I mean, let's just go straight there for a second. Do you know why the divorce rate is so high? Outside of the fairy tale image of what people believe marriage is, outside of that, but do you know what the main issue is of why most people end up in divorce court? Because there's not a vision. See, there's a lot of submission conversations happening, and a lot of people don't even understand what submission is, but that's a whole nother conversation. But when we're talking submission, that means you're submitting to a mission. And the only way for you to submit to a mission is if a vision is present, because a mission is non-existent unless there's a vision, because the vision is the foundation layer. So if you only have a vision for the wedding day, which is what most women have, truthfully, then, and you don't have a vision of what you believe marriage is to be like, and you're submitting to someone else's vision who is not very clear to you, of course the marriage is going to perish. Anything that you do is going to perish. If you try to start a business and you don't have the vision for it, that means you don't have a mission, which means you're not working the mission, because the mission is what gets worked daily. So this is how you burn out in business and y'all don't last, because you cause yourself issues because you don't understand that without a vision, the people will perish. A lot of people have a very skewed view of scripture due to, and I've talked about this already. I'll go catch my last video where I talked about the difference between the King James Bible and all these things, and how they chopped it and screwed it and all that. That video is on YouTube right now. You can go and check it out for yourself. It's the last one I did. So same name. So you can go over there and check it out for yourself. But a lot of people look at the scripture from a very skewed view, and they look at it from a space of like, it's rigid and this and that. Thank you, my love, for these gifts and these likes. I appreciate them so much. But it's more so a book of codes to let you know how to maneuver through this life, because a lot of us are walking around very confused. The reason why it's very difficult to read is because it's much like a code. You're learning. I want you to picture it like you're learning a different language, because you are. And it's even harder because you're learning a spiritual language, which requires you to sit for a second, and you have to not only eat it, but you have to first dissect it. You know what I'm saying? Then you eat it. Then there's a process of digestion. So you have to sit with that. And I think that, thank you, my love, for these gifts and these likes. And I think that people have an unrealistic expectation of what is supposed to happen when you are reading this scripture, right? When, like I said, it's a book of codes. And if you sit with it, it will reveal itself to you. And when it reveals itself to you, all the things that you are desiring out here, like a lot of you are going out here and practicing magic. Let me just keep it real with you. When you really dissect the scripture and you understand the scripture, you understand, by definition, number one, magic is of supernatural source. When you are magic, you are of supernatural source, the ultimate supernatural source. You don't have to practice anything, beloved. You just have to be. You are the walking magic. You are the walking example. You literally being here is literally magic. So the fact that you feel like the only time you need to practice something is when you intend to perform it, and you perform an act. You perform something that is unnatural. You understand what I'm saying? You don't need to perform. You're here to be. This is why you are a human being. But society has wrapped and warped a lot of our minds into becoming human doings. And because of that, our minds have been programmed to be slaves. Our nervous systems have been wired for anxiousness and instability, even though we crave stability and we crave all these different things, relationships and security and all of that. But society has programmed you like that to keep you a slave spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and physically, right? If you're not in the jail, they want you to be a slave to your own body in the form of sickness. Okay? They play on you not being clear on yourself. Thank you, Lovey. They prey on these type of things. And words have power. They tell you all these things, but they don't tell you how to use these things. So I'm going to speak specifically, like I said, on the 5 writing acts that rewire your nervous system. And I'm going to give it to you step by step. But if you're not a person that's really, how can I explain it? If you're not really a self-starter, a self-governor, you're not going to be able to keep this up. So you might want to be in class on Wednesday where I break all of this down, like down. Okay? So let's go ahead and get straight into it. 5 writing acts that rewire your nervous system step by step. And I want you to put one in the comments to let me know that you still can hear me before I go ahead and get started, because I want to knock this down because I'm not going to be on super long because I got a lot to do. All right. So put a 1 in the comments if you can hear me clearly. Awesome. All right. So let's just go ahead and get straight into it. What if I told you, or how can I phrase this? What if I told you that what you write, you wear is what you wear? You know how people say you are what you eat, which is very true. Which is very true, by the way. But what if I told you what you write is what you wear, whether you realize it or not? Okay. A lot of you have been casting spells with your own captions, the things that you write online, and you don't even know it. Not because you're a witch or anything like that, but because you're wounded, and wounded people write differently than healed people. And I just told you that it says in scripture, write the vision down and make it plain. A lot of you continue to write down your nightmares in the form of processing because you don't really understand the power of your words, the power of the penmanship, the power that goes behind it. What you write down becomes law. Why do you think every time when the Most High was calling someone up, it was like, hey, write this down? There's power in the words that you're writing and that you're speaking. Okay? So these things are very, very important. So let's talk about how your nervous system has a writing style, whether you realize it or not. And if you've been using the pen to soothe pain instead of program power, because that's what it's for. See, it's a difference. If you have been writing to soothe pain instead of program power, your words have been keeping you in survival mode. Your words have been keeping you in survival mode. And I'm not here to police your post. I'm just here to show you that language is spiritual law in motion, whether you realize it or not. Okay? You've been binding yourself with every single caption, every single complaint. Do men steal? Do you understand what you write, you wear? And let me just put you a little bit on game. If you are the one who is consistently posting, do men still do this? Do men still do that? Why don't men go on dates? Do you know what you're wearing? You are wearing the coat of a woman who does not recognize her value. You are wearing the coat of a woman who is desperate for male engagement. See, what you write is what you wear, baby. I know y'all thought this was just social media. I know y'all thought this was just cute. But I'm here to wake it up. I'm here to wake it up because I don't think you understand the world that you're living in, and the reason why you're even performing the way you are is because of false things that were written, because of truth that was omitted. And like I said, you can go back to that video on YouTube where I talk about how they went from the Ethiopian scripture to the Geneva Bible to the King James Bible, and how the Geneva Bible is a Bible that challenges, that positions the people to challenge leadership. And how the King James Bible is the Bible that tells you not to challenge leadership, that puts you in a position of a hierarchy. This was done on purpose. Why y'all think them people over there that's at the V, I ain't gonna say their name because I'm gonna get banned. They got scroll, they got stuff they ain't supposed to have over there. And they're using it against you. Us. And if you don't wake up and understand that writing is not just something that's small, let me tell you something, baby. Anytime they trying to snatch something from you, you need to question it. I don't understand how the parents did not raise hell at the school when they said they were taking cursive. They were no longer teaching the children cursive. How y'all let that happen? Now, I ain't got no babies. How y'all let that happen? See, they understand it's power in your signature. There's power in the script. See, first, they started to take the creative programming out of schools. You understand? And they start replacing it with all the tech and all of this and all the STEM and all of this. One of the greatest scams of all time. Tricks your children to believing that everything in the world is going to be so tech, so the need to be able to read or even write or even think for yourself is not necessary because you're going to have a chat GTP. You're going to have this. You're going to have that. See, they know the power of writing. They know the spiritual power behind writing, which is how they've been able to write laws based on lies to trick you into believing things about yourself that are not true. See, you want to know one of the biggest lies that they tricked us into? Tricked us into believing that money itself, paper money, the one that is printed on, see, they tricked us into believing that that has the real value, to the point to where we would even unalive our own for the paper. You understand what I'm saying? Not realizing that this paper was made of, that is made of 75% cotton, 25% linen. If money was so valuable, then why are they finna tank this dollar? If the paper was so valuable that it was being printed on, why are they about to get ready to trash the dollar and about to have why are they doing that? Have you ever begin to ask yourself, why are they doing that? Because the paper never had value. Go and look up how money even came to be. Go and look at that. They tricked you into believing that paper has value. What else have they tricked you into believing? The truth is you are the value. Don't believe me? Think about a corporation. Think about Walmart. What if everybody in the world who worked at Walmart decided not to go to Walmart? What you think? You think Walmart gonna be worried about money, or they be worried about their human resources that make the money? Because there is no money without the human resource, which is why they need a department to manage you. That's why when you hear people say things like, "Oh, HR is not about you," it's not. It's for the company. They're there to manage the resource. They're not your friends. This is why you can tell them something and they can go right back and tell the CEO, because they are not your friends. They're there to manage the resources. You have the wrong belief. But why do you believe that they care? Because they tell you we're a company who cares. Linguistic sorcery is what they use on us on a daily basis. Do you understand that even lawyers, when you think about the legal system, there is a whole different book that's in a different language? Because they make it so difficult for you to understand the statutes and the legalities of where you even live. You need to understand the power of words is not a joke. When they say it's power of life and death in the tongue, do you think when you hear things like, I'm telling you, these laws and stuff that they've been able to write, how did we allow them to convince us that crack is worse than coke? You know why crack was worse than coke? Because if you were doing crack, you had to be poor, and if you were poor, you had to probably be brown. And that's what makes you crazy. So even though it's the same substance, different form, we got a higher sentence for this one right here, because this one causes more damage. This one is this is that. So these are the things that we have to think about and we really have to consider. I'm talking about corporations. Keyword on what I said. Corporations is what I'm speaking of. So you have to pay attention to the linguistic sorcery and the things that they do with their words and the way that they trick you with the things, even with the fine print that we don't read every time we update our phones. These are the things that we have to pay attention to. You've got to start paying attention to the words. Okay? So like I said, your nervous system has a writing style, whether you realize it or not. You are a walking code. Okay? So if you've been using your pen again to soothe pain instead of program power, your words have been keeping you in survival. And like I said, I'm not here to police your post. I'm not here to police what you write down, but I'm just simply telling you and showing you that your language is spiritual law in motion. The ditch that you may be digging for someone else with your words may very much be the one that you fall in. And this is what we have to think about. Every single thing that you're writing, that you're saying, you've been binding yourself with every caption, every complaint, every journal entry that's rooted in trauma. And I'm going to tell you these 5 steps to position you to come out of that, because there are 5 writing acts that will support you in rewiring your nervous system. People will talk about the nervous system all the time, but they will not tell you what needs to be done. Everything I teach is rooted in scripture, backed up by science. And I'm going to give you that today. So the first thing that has to happen is you have to identify the trauma loops in your language. That's number 1. You have to identify the trauma loops in your language. When you write things like, I'm tired of being a strong one. I don't ask for help because I'm always disappointed. Even if you're sending that in the text, baby. I'm always the one who loves harder. Do you understand? Do you hear yourself? Hi, love. Shalom. Do you hear yourself? I'm tired of being a strong one. You reinforce it when you write it down, when you text that. I don't ask for help because I always get disappointed. Always is a very heavy word. Always is a very heavy. Always and never are heavy words, and people love to use them when there is not an always. There is not a never. Just your feelings. Okay? I'm always the one who loves harder. Let me give you a little bit of neuroscience, because a bunch of people are joining the neuroscience train. Welcome. Been here for a while. Let's get into it. Want to talk about it? So repetition reinforces belief. Okay? So there's a part of your brain that literally flags repeated language as important for survival. So if you keep saying, I'm broke, that's important for survival. I'm broke is the mindset. That's important for survival. I'm broke, so I'm going to go sleep with him to get this money. That's what's needed for survival. That's what you tell your subconscious mind. I'm about to go hustle myself into doing this because I'm broke. Because that's what's important for survival. Again, there's a part of your brain that flags repeated language important for survival. The more you write for suffering, or the more you write your suffering, the more your body believes that is who you are. I'm getting into that next. Boo. It believes that. And these are the things that we have to pay attention to. Okay? The consequence is, if you don't address this, and if you don't identify the trauma loops in your language, you'll subconsciously attract circumstances that validate the language that you live by. You're going to validate that language because it's going to be like, okay, this is your reality. And I've explained to you and told you, let me tell you something. Your words, what you write, and your womb are all connected to wealth. They're all portals to wealth. And you have to understand that the wealthy, the filthy wealthy, let me say that, because everybody that's wealthy isn't filthy. You understand? The filthy wealthy does not desire for you to be wealthy, which is why they are ruining your wombs with these Bath and Body Works sales, with them candles. They be throwing your hormones off, but they always on sale. Yeah. That's causing you issues. That's causing your PCOS. That's adding and contributing to that. Fibroids and throwing your hormones completely out of balance. Attack on your womb with the food. Attack on your womb with products that's supposed to be there to support you every single month, that's literally making you bleed more, cramp more. They give you something, say use this to cover up, while the chemicals in it literally make you cramp more. Even the little fake ones that lie to you and tell you, oh, we don't have any chemicals. So y'all really believe always went from having chemicals to not having no chemicals? Y'all believe that? Y'all believe that? I wouldn't trust it. I wouldn't trust it. The food and beauty cards, the big, yes, it is. Yes, it is. These are things that you have to really pay attention to because it's very important. When I stopped using those heavy chemical products, like always, I noticed that my flow wasn't heavy. My flow wasn't as heavy as I thought it was. That stuff made it worse. And the reason why a lot of you think that you need those big old pads is because those chemicals are the reason why you so heavy with your flow outside of you being hormonally imbalanced. Your flow is so heavy because of those products, and you think you need to have a big thick one on. Oh, I can't wear the ones that don't have because they too small. I'm gonna bleed through. No, baby. You gotta understand this by design. Because if you bleed heavy, you're gonna have to buy more. You're gonna have to buy more. Okay? What I use is this brand called Rael. Rael. I have on a half wig, my love. It's in my TikTok shop. It's the second wig that's on there, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I have on a half wig. My hair under here is real long. People know me in real life, so my hair is about this length. So I wear it for. But yeah, you're welcome. So these are the things that we really need to pay attention to. They told us that this would help us, just like they told us if we go to school, we're gonna get a good job, we're gonna get a house, we're gonna get this, we get that. Millennials, how y'all doing? Millennials, how y'all doing with that? Didn't they tell us to go to school? Didn't they tell us to get good grades? Didn't they tell us that if we went and we did this, we was gonna have a job, we was gonna be able to afford everything, we was gonna have all this stuff, and didn't we get grown and get gooped? Didn't a lot of us graduate college right in the middle of a recession? Okay. And ain't we looking crazy like this is the grown life that we thought we was gonna have? Baby, all we wanted to do was be grown and do what we want to do. We didn't think it was gonna be like this. And we was not trying to be the generation that had to change the world. But guess what? Here we go. Guess we're here. The boomers and Gen X then enjoyed their time. They enjoyed their adult, baby. They got it in. We got grown. Everybody was like, world stop. And we like, what about us, guys? What happened? Right? But this is what happens when they tell you stuff. It's a program. They get you just like they programmed us. A lot of millennials struggle in relationships, right? Relationships is difficult for most people anyway. But millennials struggle because we fighting against the Disney fairy tale. We are the ones who grew up in the Cinderellas, the what is it? The love stories, the Cinderellas, the Little Mermaid, all that stuff came out for real when we were kids. All butterfly, everything was very much so butterflies, fantasy. Oh my God, this is love. And so we had a very warped perception of love. And a lot of us got married based on that perception of what we thought love was. And a lot of us got gooped in that too. So we're just all sitting back, and a lot of women in the millennial generation like are very confused. Because you told me if I would be a good girl, then I would go to church and I would do this, that God would give me a husband. I ain't got no husband. See, all these things that we're taught and we're told are straight bamboozled. These things were put out there on purpose to position you to not focus on what you really could do, what you really could have, what your reality could be. So you have to be very careful of these things. So again, identify the trauma loops in your language, because when you write things like, I'm tired of being a strong one, I don't ask for help because I'm always getting disappointment, I'm always the one who loves harder, this reinforces your belief because you're repeating it. And repetition is the language of the subconscious mind. Okay? And if you don't address these things subconsciously, you're going to continue to attract circumstances that validate the language that you live by. What you write, you wear. Okay? The second thing that's going to be very, very important is that you're gonna have to rewire your subconscious with divine affirmation. But before we even get into the affirmation aspect, I have to say this because it's a responsibility for me to say this. And most people who understand spiritual knowledge, they don't really tell you this, but I'm going to tell you this because it's the responsible thing to do. Okay? It is, to me, it is the ethical thing to do. And a lot of people don't have spiritual ethics, but that's a whole nother conversation. When I say rewire your subconscious with divine affirmation, okay? You cannot rewire your mind, your subconscious, thank you, Lovey, for these gifts, with divine affirmation if you lack belief. Okay? I'm going to tell you right now. Belief impacts biology, and biology influences the way that you behave. In order for you to affirm something, you first have to confirm it. If there is no confirmation, there is no need for affirmation. This is why your affirmations, this is one element. And I'm going to teach an affirmations class again. I haven't done it since 2022, but I'm going to teach it again one day. I don't know when. It might be for my community. I don't know. It might be a class. I don't know. But in order for you to affirm something, it has to be confirmed as a reality first. You can't say I'm beautiful when you don't believe in real time that you're beautiful. Saying it in the mirror 369, writing it on the mirror, telling it to a man, none of that is going to help you because you don't believe that is your reality. Saying this is, and let me tell you something. You know the woman who don't know the woman that I know, she doesn't really know her worth. It's the woman who always saying, I know my worth and I know my value. Women who always repeat out of their mouths, I know my worth and I know my value to other people are the main women who don't know their value and who don't know their worth. Because if that's something that you knew to be a reality, you would operate as such. You would not allow people to just be in your space who devalue you. You wouldn't allow people to devalue you. You just wouldn't have that. Okay? So it's you're gonna have to come on down. You're gonna have to come on down. Because I think a lot of women really don't realize, like, if there is not a confirmation of something, you can't affirm it. Affirmation comes after confirmation. Knowing you're beautiful and then reminding yourself that you're beautiful when you're not feeling as beautiful in that moment is not the same thing as thinking you ugly in real time. That being your subconscious belief that you're not good enough and you're not pretty according to societal standards, and telling yourself that in the mirror, you're not finna come up a vibrational state. I'm sorry to hurt your feelings. I'm actually not sorry. I'm here to tell you the truth. It's not gonna happen for you. In order to rewire your subconscious mind with divine affirmation, you have to have confirmation that you are in communion with the divine, with the creator. If you don't commune with your creator, then how can you understand yourself as a creation? How? How? How are you interacting with other creations when you are not connecting with the creator? These things are very, very important. So if you don't connect with your creator, then guess what? You don't know how you work. This is why a lot of y'all walking around with spiritual gifts that are not activated, because you don't know how you work. Because you won't even take the time to sit and get an understanding of how you work with the one that created you. Women ask me all the time, how did you get this wisdom? How did you get this? How did you get that? I had to sit in it. Let me tell you something, and I'm going to keep it real with you. I didn't choose to sit. Now, I'm going to be real honest with you. I didn't choose to sit and learn. I got knocked to the ground by life when my best friend died. Took the life from me. Knocked the breath out of me. Knocked the wind out of me. On the ground, while I'm crawling to the one that created me, the creator reminded me that I don't need to be afraid of the wind, because I am the wind. Wind clears, wind clarifies, wind makes things anew. So when I get the wind knocked out of me, I just need to remember who I am. And it was while I was crawling on that ground with my creator until I could get on my tubes and start walking with my creator is when my gifts started heightening. That's when all those things started happening. I had the knowing. I always had a knowing, But I thought I was crazy and I doubted myself. None of that now, because I'm very sure of who I am. So now that I have confirmation of who I am, I can consistently affirm who I am. This is why no one can ever say to me that I'm ugly. Not because you don't think by your standards and your perception that you may believe that, but I can't accept that as reality because the creator of all things stated that I am beautifully and wonderfully made, and I have not seen you create all things. So therefore, if you have not created all things, you are not qualified to speak on the creation of the creator of all things. So I can't even take your word as truth if I wanted to. I can't even die. I can't even be offended by it if I wanted to. Because what I'm seeing is that you don't know yourself and you're not connected with your creator enough to know that all of the Most High's creations are beautiful, right? And wonderfully made. So if your perception, if you don't see me through that lens, you are not operating in a godlike state. See, this is why when you really evolve and evolving spiritually, you're not judging. Even if you are saying that you are a Christian, even if you are saying that you are a believer, if you really a believer, you don't have time to be worrying about what the high voodoo priestess is over here doing. You respecting her like she respecting you. You're not going over there and telling her about what she got going on. See, y'all be so out of order and be calling yourselves believers. You're supposed to be living a life so heavy in belief that people come ask you about what you're doing and what you have going on and how you can maintain a state of peace when the world is chaos. See, people will start to seek you out. Y'all around here trying to hit people in the head with a Bible that y'all don't read and don't even know the history of and don't know the origin or the etymology behind the things that you're speaking on. And this is why you get chewed up by atheists. You are called to be a walking example, not to beat people over the head with something that you barely even know. These are the things that we really have to start speaking on, because if you don't know yourself, if you don't know your creator, you cannot affirm in the strength of the divine, the creator of all things. So again, the second thing is going to be for you to rewire your subconscious with the divine affirmations. But again, there must first be divine confirmation. Okay. So affirmations are not just positive things. They're power backed. Okay. And what I mean by that is examples will be like, my presence activates divine order. One thing I say about myself that's absolutely true and it's facts and it's the energy that I just have. People straighten up when I walk in a room. It's not because I'm better than them. It's not because I am anything other than myself, but it is a sign of respect and it is a sign of order. And I'm going to tell you, even before I even understood what I had within me, I used to coach girls for 10 years, right? I coached girls into women. It's one of my favorite pastimes in my life. Like it prepared me for what I do now. I coached teenage girls into women for about 10 years. And we coached in the poorest neighborhood, in the poorest zip code in the state, in the city, right? Very dangerous. Always something going on, a lot of stuff going on, right? But when I would come around to pick up the girls, me and my best friend that passed away, we come to pick up the girls and bring them. The main folks y'all be calling YNs, folks y'all be saying, oh, the hood, all them folks is like, hey, y'all see them right there? Don't mess with them. And they would even say, it was like, even the gangsters respect, they would say my name or whatever. And it wasn't because I came in there like rah, 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 but I gave them the same respect that I would want back. I gave them the affirmation of what I saw. When I saw these young men, I spoke to the king in them. I didn't speak to how they were behaving. And these young men would tuck their flags. These young men would hide their guns. These young men would, be like, how you doing? Everything is fine. Do you need anything? Anybody bothering you? It would be that type of energy going on. But they only affirmed what I confirmed in them. Hey, young king, how you doing today? I like that what you got on right there. I appreciate how you do this. When you speak to people in a certain kind of way, it raises their vibrational state. If you are saying you this, and you that, and you're constantly picking them apart, they're not going to hear you. But if you walk, let me tell you something, and I want you to try this. And when it work, you better come back and tell me, because I know it's going to work. The next time you as a woman are in an uncomfortable space, right? Or let's just say you're about to walk past a bunch of men. And you know, as a woman, because let's just be honest here, we have that feeling sometimes that we get in our chest when we're about to walk past a bunch of men, like, oh Lord, oh. You know, you get that feeling, right? So I want you to tuck that feeling, because that feeling really is rooted in anxiousness or in a bit of fear, whether we want to admit it or not. But when you walk past them, I challenge you to make eye contact and say, how you doing, gentlemen? And I want you to see how they respond to you, versus you trying to walk past them and act like they're not there and avoid them and be like, how y'all doing? See, you have to understand that femininity is also a survival skill. Femininity is also a survival skill. If you know how to use your feminine essence, you can get yourself out of scenarios where your life is in danger. And I'm not even kidding around. There are people that have harmed people. They've come on of studies that have said people who look them in the eye, who acknowledge them, who referred to them or treated them with some form of respect initially, they bypassed them and got to the next person who was trying to do this because they felt the fear coming off them. I watched another video where it was a young lady basically using her femininity because a young man was robbing a store. And she was so scared, baby, but she used her femininity. By the time they got done, he was pumping her gas and letting her go. You need to understand how to confirm belief so they can affirm the belief themselves. See, when I walk past a bunch of men and I'm uncomfortable, hey, gentlemen, how y'all doing? Then you know what that does? They're going to say, how you doing? When they say, how you doing back? That's affirming that I'm talking to them, that they are gentlemen, and they're going to respond in the frequency of a gentleman. Thank you, my love, for these gifts and these likes. Y'all not thinking. Your energy tells on you. And the thing about it is, and why I don't understand why we don't grasp this, because and think about it like this: the man you be ignoring the majority of the time, what he be doing? Put in the comments for me. The man you don't want, what he always doing? He always chasing. Put chase in the comments. The man you don't want is always chasing you. Always chasing you. Do you notice that? Same energy, same concept when you're walking past men who make you feel uncomfortable. They're going to poke with you because you already coming across like you're uncomfortable. See, but if you know how to use your feminine essence, I shouldn't have to do this, I shouldn't have to do that. Hey, do what you want. I'm just telling you how to maneuver in a way that you're going to be safe, which is by being yourself. Is you trying to be something else, which is trying to be like them, is what's going to get you messed up. What's going to get you looking crazy. Confirm the belief so they can affirm it. Hey, gentlemen, how y'all doing today? Hey, you doing all right today? Ain't nobody bothering you, is it? You'll be surprised. They was going to be the one bothering you. Hi, lovey. And here we go. Now they the one making sure you straight. You have to know how to speak in those spaces. So again, rewire, and I'm telling you, thank you, love. You're welcome. All praise to the Most High. What I'm teaching you, if you can rewire your subconscious, right? Then you can rewire the response to how other people respond to you. And this is not manipulation. This is not none of that. I'm teaching you psychology. I'm teaching you the truth. Okay? So when you say things like, my presence activates divine order, I do not perform to be loved. I was appointed to be remembered. When you say things like, my law backs my authority, okay? This is you standing in strength. Let me give you a little bit of psychological insight on this, okay? Neuroplasticity is the strongest when emotion plus repetition plus belief collide. I'm going to say that again. Neuroplasticity, being able to rewire your mind and change everything, is the strongest when emotion plus repetition and belief collide. When your belief on the money, when your heart in agreement and it's on the money, and you repeat the process, let me tell you something. you're going to change your life. You have no choice but to change your life. It's science. It's a scientific fact. Everything I teach is rooted in scripture, backed up by science. Everything. So you can go look this stuff up for yourself. Hi, Lovey. Welcome for the first time, and thank you for the follow. But I want you to pay attention to this. When you write a new language from a regulated state, hear me now, okay? You reprogram your automatic emotional responses. You reprogram your automatic emotional responses, okay? So these are the things that you need to really pay attention to, okay? Because it's very, very important. So just like how I talked about the Ethiopian scripture was written in Ge'ez, right? Thank you, Lovey. Thank you for being here. The original scripture was written in Ge'ez, right? And I'm sorry, the Ethiopian scripture was written in Ge'ez. It was never colonized. The King James version is a colonized version of scripture. That's just what it is, right? You can go look this up. I'm not telling you no woo-woo. I'm not telling you something like, oh, I'm over because I'm black. I'm telling you the truth. Like this extends. This is beyond race. And I'm gonna be real when I say this with you too. Let me tell you something. For your mindset, and that you need to understand, race, even though it's something that's very heavy in the States, race, and don't you ever forget this, race is a second-class issue. They're not gonna tell you that. They make it appear as if it's a first-class issue to get you emotionally riled up, because they want you so emotionally riled up to where you break next year and they put you in them computerized brew. I ain't gonna repeat this. I hope you heard me when I said that too. Okay? What you have to understand is that this is why when you see your favorite celebrities who you feel like are pro-black, who are so black and they this and they that and they do performances and you like, oh my God, they did it, they so black, they did this, and you get so hyped about these performances and different things, and then you see these same people go and be in rooms with people that you wouldn't think they would be in rooms with, or you see them going to speak in spaces with people that you would have never thought that they would associate with because of how they feel about black people. See what I'm saying? First class issue is always going to be money. The reason why you see those people sitting in those rooms with them is because they have the money to sit there. And the first class issue is always going to be money. They don't care about race up there. Do you have the money to be in here? And clearly, if you're in here, you have the money. They don't talk. I'm telling you, this is why y'all got to be paying attention. You are missing it. They use race. Race does not even exist in other countries. You let another linguistic sorcery spell I'm finna expose, and hopefully it breaks open in your mind. You have never been the minority. Do you understand that? You have never been the minority. They tricked you into believing that you were the minority here in this country. But if you were to open and expand your mind and look at everything as a whole, white and black only exist in this country. You are not the majority. You are not the minority in the world. You are actually the majority. But see, they tricked you into thinking that you were small. See, all this wordplay. That's what I told y'all. Linguistic sorcery is a real thing, and I'm going to break it down on Wednesday in a masterclass. Y'all have to understand it's a second-class issue, baby. These people... Because get into it. Period. It is also a social construct that has no genetic back. Period. Because you can't go nowhere else. And it's going to be on this black white stuff. Girl, don't get me started. You know, I love Brother Malcolm, honey. That was my favorite book, the autobiography of Malcolm X. Malcolm X said that they distract us of race for social and cultural wins so they can hold economically. But on Ting, that's exactly why he's not here today. Because he stood on business. He stood on principle. He knew what it was. And he was not going to sell out for it. Not even when his own people decided to do so. Factual. That is factual information right there. These are the things that we need to pay attention to. Again, the Ge'ez scripture, which is what the Ethiopian scripture was originally, in the language, it was never colonized. It was never phonetically collapsed. You want to know why? Because spirit and structure were married, not divorced like English. See, they played a lot. This is why it's very important for you to reprogram your mind and rewire your subconscious with divine affirmation, but you got to have divine confirmation first. That's number 2. Let's get into number 3. Cancel the contracts that you wrote in dysfunction. Cancel the contracts that you wrote in dysfunction. They're going to ban me if I ever do this, but one day, I don't know when, but I'm going to talk about the scam of mental health in this society. I'm going to talk about it one day. I'm going to talk about the scam of how they tricked a lot of you with self-care, especially during the pandemic, and made you feel like it was these, self-maintenance rituals, when really and truly it's about penetrating the soul, care that penetrates the soul. One day I'm going to really talk about the cycle of how a lot of you can sit in therapy for years and never really get anything done. And then I have women who leave therapy who come to work with me and they get results in 3 months that they have been working towards for 3 years. Thank you, my love, for these gifts. Now, what I'm not telling you is, I'm not saying that therapy is a scam in any form or fashion. I am not telling you that. I am not telling you that mental health is not a real thing, because it is a very real thing. But you need to understand that there is a big, huge difference between mental health issues and the mental health industry. And the mental health industry, baby, got you in a noose. Got you in a noose. Got you in a noose. Telling you to continue to write out things that keep you in a cycle of dysfunction. Because let's get into it. Some of you wrote your vows in heartbreak. Some of you wrote promises in poverty, right? Identities, instability. And now your journal has literally become your prison. And these are the things that we need to pay attention to. There are also some therapists that support you in being calm and the will to regulate without being aware. Listen, very true. Very true. And I'm going to tell you something. Those are the ones that don't get the popularity. They don't get the popularity. Those are ones who are really behind the scene, who are doing the work. They don't get the popularity. They don't really get to be seen, though. So these are the things that we have to pay attention to. Saying things like, and this is what I want you to do if you have written things in heartbreak, promises while in poverty, identities of instability. What I want you to do is, I want you to write things like, I canceled the contract that I wrote when I said I never trust again. I canceled the contract that I wrote when I said I don't need anyone. I canceled the contract when I wrote and I said money makes people evil. See, the things that you've written about yourself that was so strong, I'm always this, I'm never this, never this. You need to go back and you need to cancel those things, because those things that you've written are law. Those are the laws of your life. There's a scientific fact that shows that when you write something down, it has more of an impression and makes more of an imprint onto your brain than when you are typing something. This is why it's very important for you to write it down and make it plain instead of just trying to type it because you think it make it easier. That's why you got 1,000 notes on your phone. Yes, I'm judging you because I'm with you. I got you. Same. Got 1,000 notes on your phone. You don't even remember half of the stuff you put on there. Hell, you got 12 million things saved on TikTok that you ain't went back to. You swear you finna go back to. This is why when it comes down to the computer and you writing it down, it's a huge difference. It's a huge difference. And you'll get overwhelmed consistently looking at your phone. So you're going to need something else. Okay? So again, you want to write down those things. You want to cancel those contracts. And let me give you a little bit of neuroscience insight on this as well. Language creates fixed neural maps. Okay? Unless manually directed, your brain is always going to honor the old contract, even if it destroys you. Your brain don't know if this gonna hurt you or this gonna help you. Your brain just gonna go with what you got going on. Okay, you hate men, got it. So you're always going to interact and have the perception of men that you hate in your experience, because that's what you're writing down. You hate them. Okay? People who have money are evil. People who have money are evil. So this means you're never going to have money, right? Because you associate them automatically with being evil. Notice I said the filthy wealthy. Everybody that's wealthy ain't filthy though. Okay? These are the things you have to really pay attention to. So this whole thing that I don't need a man post, I'm always broke by the 25th, these are things that you are coding into your spiritual operating system. It's not just energy, it's execution sabotage. You're self-sabotaging. It's a form of self-sabotaging. Writing to enslave yourself is a form of self-sabotage. And we don't even realize a lot of times that we're doing it. Here's the fourth thing that's going to be very important. You're going to have to shift from complaining to magnetic storytelling. This is why scripting is so appealing to many, because it's like you get to write the future aspect of self. For example, right? Well, let me say this: language should attract, not alert people of your trauma. See, when you're putting online, do they still, you're alerting people to the fact that you don't know what, let me tell you something. With what I know about the science of femininity and the science of masculinity, I'm going to show you how a lot of you position yourself to be prey online for men right now. I'm going to position myself and use that other aspect of me so you can see as prey. Okay? So let's just say you put online, do men still take women on dates? Do they still buy flowers? Do they still do this? Do they still do that? Why can't men just be honest? Why can't this? Why can't that? Okay, so these are the statuses that I'm seeing, and let's just say I'm the masculine. I'm assessing what you're saying, and I'm noticing that you've never had a man that treat you any kind of way. I'm noticing that men don't buy you flowers. I'm noticing that men don't take you on dates. I'm noticing that men clearly are not giving you attention. So what that tells me is that if I give you some attention, 9 times out of 10, I'm going to be able to knock you down. If I buy you one flower, if I invite you over to my house and I give you flowers, I'm going to be able to knock you down. This about to be easy access. Let me tell her that she's beautiful. Let me start with attention. Let me see how much attention she needs, and let me see how much attention I got to give her to get what I want. Okay, so she ain't never been on a date. I'm going to take her to the movies. Now, I took this last girl. She was like, she wasn't going nowhere unless it was like low lit, nice restaurant type. I took her to Capitol Grill, so I took her over there. Or I took her to Texas Day, Brazil, or anywhere. I took her to Folks Folly. But this girl over here, I'm just going to take her to, we're going to go to the movies. I'm going to take her to a little vibe. It's a little set going on. I'm going to buy her a drink. I'm going to take her to this little vibe that they got $10 to get in. I'm going to buy her a drink, make her feel like something. I'm going to give her a flower. She going to let me hit. Just that easy. What you write is what you wear. A lot of you tell your business. You're not magnetic storytellers. You are trauma teachers. You teach people how to enhance your trauma because you alert them to your trauma. Saying things like, people always take advantage of me, when you really should be saying things like this: I'm no longer accessible to dishonor and I move accordingly. That should be the energy you're on. Okay? People don't just, or how can I say this? They don't buy your pain. They buy your pattern interrupt. So you have to shift your words from casual venting to calibrated vision casting. You're throwing out there what the vision is because you're still writing it down and making it plain. That's how you build trust, not pity. And that's how you don't position yourself to become prey. Saying something like, oh, these men don't want wives anymore. They don't want this. They don't want that. Instead of you saying, I can't wait to be an amazing wife to my husband. I can't wait to be an amazing mother to my child. I'm doing XYZ, XYZ, XYZ for me to make sure I'm strong. I can sustain what it is that I'm asking for. What that says is that's a woman with a vision. That's a woman who desires to be a wife. That's a woman who desires to be a mom. And that's going to make it easier for people to see you because you're wearing your words. Okay? I'm just giving you a little example. On the other end, you talking about how men ain't this, how men ain't that, how men ain't this. You are alerting people to your trauma. You are making them come to you so they can break you down like a fraction even more. Keep trying to tell y'all keep playing with y'all words. It's really not a joke and it's not a game. Videos that emotionally anchor without spiraling outperform trauma dumping every single time. I'm going to say it again. If you are a person who is a content creator, videos that emotionally anchor without spiraling, outperform the trauma dumping videos every single time. Everybody is tired of seeing the exhaustion and the trauma jumping. People tired of hearing about who the F did you marry. Y'all, when old girl did it, that was a wrap. We didn't need no more. We didn't need no more. We was tired. We tired. We don't need no more. We fresh out. We don't need any more. People are now looking for things to anchor them, to ground them. That's why y'all are even here now, to rewire your nervous system. This type of content and this type of scenario is always going to outperform trauma. You want to know why? Because resonance isn't the same as regression. Thank you, my love, for these gifts. Just because people may resonate with something, hi, loving, they don't want to regress. People don't want to get dumber. People are realizing that being online makes your brain rot too much. So they at least want to consume some content that's going to put them in a better position. You understand? So you're going to have to shift your complaints to magnetic storytelling and all that you're doing, from your writing to your captions to everything, if you want to get what you want. But hey, don't listen to me. I've only helped hundreds of women all over the world. Okay? And thousands of women have bought my products and services. But hey, do what you want. Women have only made more money, gotten healthier, and gotten better men in friendships after working with me. But hey, do what you like. Okay? My receipt's long. The last point, number 5. Okay? We talked about these 4 points. Let me run them to you real quick because I'm not going to repeat. Number 1, identify the trauma loops in your language. Number 2, rewire the subconscious with divine affirmation. Remember, you can't rewire the subconscious with divine affirmation without divine confirmation, baby. Don't believe me? Just watch. If you try to do it on your own. 3, cancel all the contracts you wrote in dysfunction. Number 4, shift complaints to magnetic storytelling. Number 5, very important key, okay? Align your language with your divine identity. I'm going to take you right back up to what I just said. Hold on, let me go back to number 2. Step 2 says rewire the subconscious mind with divine affirmation. What I tell y'all, you can't rewire without divine confirmation first. So once you have divine confirmation, then you affirm it. Okay? Once you affirm it, then you can align your language. See, you can't align your language if you ain't in tune. You ain't able to do it. So the 5th step is for you to align your language with your divine identity, meaning that you're very clear on who you are. You know who you are. Okay? So the final layer of this is identity encoding. And like I told you when I first got on who I am and what I do, my name is Elle Antoinette. I'm a psychological identity strategist. For a long time, I was a human system strategist, but I'm a psychological identity strategist. And so I support women in doing this massive work, which requires them to elevate and calibrate their language. Okay, and this is coming from someone who's built a multi six-figure ecosystem without stressing myself out. I teach women how to make money every day. I teach women how to get better relationship with men every day. I teach women how to get healthier every day, because these are all things that I've had to do. And my results, like I said, has been 100 pounds heavier, broke as hell, horrible relationships with men, all that shift and change. Okay, now, so since we're talking identity coding, you have to ask yourself the following questions. Does my language reflect my old patterns or my current power? Does this caption declare sovereignty or survival? Would a healed version of me post this? Because y'all don't have no friends that's going to tell y'all the truth. So ask yourself them 3 questions and don't piss me off before y'all make another caption about that man. Man, ain't made no caption about you. And you done wrote out a whole thing of, girl, please don't piss me off. Again, does my language reflect my old patterns or my current power? Does this caption declare sovereignty or survival? Would the healed version of me post this? Okay? So now let's get into the neuroscience aspect of it. And somebody had said it earlier, the reticular activating system, okay? I'm going to talk a little bit about that. Your reticular activating system filters everything you experience through self-talk. So if your caption says nobody supports me, your RAS will literally ignore support when it arrives. This is not a lie. This is science. Everything I teach is rooted in scripture and backed up by science. The Most High told you need to believe. Y'all don't want to believe me. Science telling y'all don't believe, you're going to be looking crazy. Okay? So when you are saying things like nobody, y'all writing this, and this is for the business people be doing this because it really pisses me off. Nobody will support my business, but y'all be supporting them celebrities. Nobody's going to support you either. They're not going to support you either. Now that you wrote that, hang up. Hang up whatever support you thought you was going to get right then and there. Okay? You writing, nobody supports me, but y'all supporting celebrities because they like them. They're buying whatever they're selling. They are the ideal client for whatever it is that celebrity is marketing. Hang it up, beloved. You can completely hang it up. Okay? Because not only are you not going to get about, we're not even attracted to you. Do you know how unattractive it is for somebody to be insecure? Let's talk about it today. Okay? Do you know how people are repelled by people who are extremely insecure? That is screaming insecurity right there. My friends, nobody would buy it from me. Are your friends and your family, are they even your ideal client? Are you looking to really serve, or you just want somebody to support you because you done started your little business? See, y'all be doing stuff and be wondering why stuff don't be going the way it need to go. And it be your fault because it be your words. It be the stuff that you write, and because you don't protect your womb, that you ain't seeing wealth in no form or fashion, because those are 3/4 of wealth for women. That's easy work. That's light work. Baby, we are the charmers. We are the wordsmiths. How y'all get pimped by things? How y'all let men pimp y'all with words? And that's what we do. How y'all let men pimp you? How you let them use your essence against you? Because you don't know who you are. Because you don't know who you are. Sheesh. I don't understand. Okay? Let's talk about the strategic rewrite so you can support yourself and so you can get your RAS together. Because I'm tired. I know you tired because I'm tired. Okay? I write with my divine name, not my trauma. Elle. I'm about to say this wrong. Eliases. Okay? You're writing with your divine name. Who are you? Stop writing from the trauma. Your mindset should be, my captions cast clarity, not confusion. Okay? My brand is built on rhythm, not reaction. Your captions, whether you realize it or not, are your confessions. Because it's still, people are like, oh, it's just social media. It's not that serious. Stop lying. We see how you think. If you post something, you're in agreement with that. Thank you, my love, for these gifts. When you say something, this is coming from your thought process. Of course, you're going to be judged by that. Unless you're just intentionally out here trying to confuse people, which also shows you ain't got nothing else to do. So you confusing. I mean, but either way it goes, you're confessing. Your journal is basically a legal document because what you write is law. Your voice is spiritual voltage. So my question to you is, who gave you your language? The language that you're speaking, where did it come from? Did it come from your mama? Did it come from the way you were reared and raised? If you've been feeling stuck in the area of money, if you've been stuck in the area in regard to men, if you've been or feeling disconnected from men, or feeling unseen by your friends, check your writing, check your words. You didn't just think yourself into survival, you wrote yourself into that. You wrote yourself into that, which is why I created the class that I'm teaching. Okay? So the class that I'm teaching, if you don't know how to do these things and you need a step-by-step aspects or clarity on really how to do this, I'm teaching this on Wednesday. So what you can do is click the link in the bio and you can get access to how to reprogram your mind, because that's the first course that you're going to need. That's an oldie but goodie. How to reprogram your mind is going to support you in completely rewiring the way you speak about yourself. I'm teaching you every single thing you need to know to reprogram your mind. I don't hold anything back in that class. That class is so powerful. It is supporting women in 10xing their income. It's supporting women in rewiring experiences and things in their life they never thought that they could. It supported women in literally reprogramming themselves, first deprogramming themselves and then reprogramming themselves to really get and attain the things that they desire, to be in position to be able to receive. So that's the first class you're going to get. That one you automatically get when you sign up is $197. You get it with Klarna, Firm, and Afterpay. The bonus class that is happening on Wednesday, which is tomorrow, is what comes with that. So you get two classes for the $197. You get the first class immediately, which I encourage you to go ahead and dive into immediately. The second class, this is what we're going to go over, so you know. The second class is called Words Become Flesh. What you write, you welcome, and you wear. Okay. It is the invisible contracts hiding in your journal, your content, your captions, and your casual confessions. So what you're going to cover, I'm literally giving you in this class a life-altering framework. That is what I'm giving you in this class, a life-altering framework. Why is it important to have frameworks in your life? It's important to have frameworks and systems in your life for the things that are consistent. Here is one thing that most people don't have a framework for, which is why they keep getting stuck. There is not a framework for your grief when you lose things, including people, whether you lose them in life or if you lose them in death. This is why a lot of people, when they lose somebody, their whole world crashes because there is no framework. There is no support, much like there is no system to pay out for this funeral, so let me create a GoFundMe. This is something that you know is happening all the time. People dying every day, every single day. Is your life going to stop because somebody passed away? Or are you going to position okay, somebody's passed away. I know I'm going to go through these stages of grief. Let me go ahead and set up grief counseling because they have grief counseling here. There are, in most areas, grief counseling is free, normally at a hospital. Let me set up grief counseling here so I can be able to go here. Let me go ahead and set up some activities here so I can journal. Let me go ahead and set up what I'm going to need to be able to ground. Let me set up for when their birthday comes around, maybe I can do something like a routine or something, a tradition or something to honor them instead of me being depressed all day long on the day that they died, on the day that they were born. What is the framework? See, these are the things that are very important. Loss is inevitable in every single reality. So if you don't understand that and you don't grasp that reality, you will lose touch with reality every time you lose something or somebody. And you are a walking transformation as a woman. You have experience of rebirth and death every single month if you have a cycle. This is not new to you. Why don't you have a framework? The framework that I'm going to be teaching you in this and why it's life altering is because of the writing. But let's get into what you're going to get in this life altering framework in this class on Wednesday. Number one, you're going to learn writing as an agreement. Okay. You're going to learn how writing is a spiritual act of consent, even when it's unconscious. You're going to learn the difference between awareness, writing for awareness versus writing for agreement. Y'all remember when y'all used to write? Now, I'm telling myself in the 4th grade. Y'all remember when you used to write your name with the boy that you may like? You write your first name and then you write his last name. You remember that? You remember that little feeling that you would give you right? You know, before, and as you're writing your name, first name, and his last name, do you understand that you are casting a vision? You're casting a vision. You're visualizing yourself as being his wife and then it goes into romanticizing being, a mom and all these other things and y'all being together forever. That is a small way, a very, very small example of vision casting. Something as simple as that. Because you're in a space where you're romanticizing something by simply just writing it down. You're taking yourself on a whole different journey. So understanding the difference between writing for awareness and writing for agreement, you're going to learn what it means to document your dysfunction unknowingly, okay, and make it law. scriptures that prove that your words aren't just reflections, they literally are contracts. Thank you, my love fish gift. She said that's why I enjoy scripting. Um, the next thing that you're going to learn is the journal trap. Okay. How venting, scripting, and shadow work can bind you to past identities if not recalibrated. I don't have an issue with scripting as long as it's recalibrated. That's the key thing. Most people are scripting, they're not recalibrated, and they find themselves in a loop. Because again, you're going to learn how venting, scripting, and shadow work can bind you to past identities if you're not recalibrated. You're also going to learn why women who process through writing often get stuck in emotional repetitive loops. You're also going to learn the hidden trauma loop language that's keeping you scripting and how it rewrites your nervous system. It rewires your nervous system. Okay? I'm going to talk about the spiritual codes, the social scripts, and the sorcery that's happening in society because you need to know. I don't tell you these things to make you fearful. I tell you these things to make you aware so you know what you're choosing, because it's only right for you. It's only just for you to know what you're participating in, right? So I'm going to tell you the biblical origins of writing. I'm going to talk about Penamu and how that power has been distorted. And if you watched the other video where I talked about Penamu, I talked about how, you know, that was the fallen angel that actually taught writing and what happened in that space. I'm also going to talk about in class the connection between linguistic sorcery, which I brought up today, legal systems, and digital surveillance. Hear me when I say this, and I'm gonna say that I've said this before, but note that I'm saying this Tuesday, November 18th at 12:29 p.m. Central Standard Time. Digital surveillance is going to hype up. It's going to go twice as hard next year. Hold tight. Hold tight. The privacy that you think that you have is going to be very much non-existent in a minute. Watch what I tell you though. And remember, I told you this. When things start heightening up, and they've already started with certain things, Apple has released this digital ID, you know, to be able to clock your travel and all this. Let me tell you something. They're going to be watching where you go. You ain't gonna be able to go nowhere without them knowing where you at. I'm trying to prepare you and tell you. I know you think you have all these freedoms but I'm gonna talk more about that in class. But I'm going to talk about the connection between linguistic sorcery, legal systems, and digital surveillance. I'm also going to talk about why captions, content, and casual complaints online are spells that you cast in public. I'm also going to talk about how AI and predictive text are retraining your language in your life. See, y'all think it's a convenience that AI can finish your sentence in the text messages. It is slowly, and studies have already started coming out about how a constant being and working with AI is messing with your memory. It's messing with your ability to be able to focus, all of these things. The fourth thing that you're going to learn is to rewrite to rewire, how to use language calibration to reprogram your subconscious mind and your spiritual authority. You're going to get daily scripts, flips to support you in what you need to say, or when you're writing, your texting, and your journaling, to be more careful with your words. And you're also going to grasp the understanding of how to get rid of those written agreements that no longer reflect your divine design, and how to begin to actually script from your consecrated future and not your chaotic past. So these are all the things that we're going to go over. You're going to walk away with a language audit map to identify emotionally expensive, spiritually binding phrases in their writing. In your writing, excuse me, a framework consecrated for consecrated content creation, where you write from authority, not anxiety, because a lot of you are writing from anxiety and not authority, because you need money. Nobody's going to give you money because you need money. People are going to pay you their money because they see value. People see value in leadership. People see value in authority. Okay. So I'm going to teach you how to speak and write from authority as someone who writes from authority and someone who's built a multi six figure ecosystem writing from authority. Okay. You're also going to learn the process of rescinding any past written agreements that tether you to trauma, scarcity, or survival. So that whole gone. And then you're also going to get a daily language recalibration, which is a practice to rewire your subconscious mind with power. Okay. So this is also going to have spiritual and scientific insight into why your words have been working against you and how to reverse it. So again, the class is called Words become flesh. What you write, you welcome. The invisible contracts hiding in your journal, your content, your captions, and your casual confessions. You click the link in the bio to be able to get access to this class on tomorrow by grabbing the course How to Reprogram Your Mind, because you need that first. If you already have How to Reprogram Your Mind, let's say you bought it from me previously, you would purchase that and your ticket would go towards coming to the class words that become flesh. So like I said, I've given you the 5 ways to rewire your nervous system by using simple writing. Rewiring your nervous system by writing. Those things are extremely important. These are things that have been being used against you in a lot of spaces in society, and it's your time to take your power back, because what you write down is law. And if you even notice the pattern in the Most High always had somebody writing it down and recording. Why? Because the Most High wanted somebody to speak truth. You were only supposed to write if you were going to be writing truth. Writing is a gift. And this is why I go back to this again. This is why when you even look at slavery, they didn't want you to be able to read and write. Why? Because there's power in your ability to be able to read, comprehend, and actually write something out. Because if you, and I'm going to tell you something, if you notice, the reason why they didn't want us to read or to write is because they didn't want us to get any bright ideas. A vision is the brightest idea. You understand? And without a vision, the people will perish. And this is why they didn't want them to know how to write, because then they could devise a plan. They actually had something to work with. This is why there's power in your words. There's power in your writing. Click the link in the bio to be able to get access to that. There is a war on your words, on your writing, your ability to write, and on your womb. And those are 3 portals to wealth. You can either wake up, okay, or you can stay asleep. Makes me no difference. My responsibility is to tell you and to teach those who are ready to know and who want to shift their reality. So if you can think this is a joke, you can think it's a game, you cannot take it seriously, and you can go into 2026 in a whirlwind, or you can take control of your reality and you can write your way and use your words into wealth. Okay? What questions do you guys have for me? Click the link in the bio to get access to the course. Like I said, it's How to Reprogram Your Mind is what you'll see. You'll click it, you'll see the Stripe link, you'll pay for that. Once you pay for that, you're going to get an email with the Reprogram Your Mind course in it. And then tonight, the link for tomorrow's class is going to go out on words that become flesh. What questions do you guys have for me? If any, drop those questions in the comments for me. If there are no questions, I'm going to let y'all go, because I'm going to go work out with my sister if we're done. So what questions do you guys have? If any, I've given you the 5 ways to rewire writing X to rewire your nervous system. If you want to learn how to do them in totality so you don't miss a step, then you need to be in class on Wednesday, beloved. Okay? Very, very important and very vital. Thank you, love. And I want to say this too. I appreciate y'all being here and being on my lives. And I also want to tell you too, my lives are only going to take y'all so far. Your real work is going to be behind the scenes with me. Anyone will tell you that. Me telling you here, I will tell you what, I will tell you why. But if you want the how, it requires investment. And I'm not just talking money. Your money gets you in the door. That's all your money does, is get you in the door. What I require of you, if you want results, is your time, your energy, and your attention. Those things are priceless. Those are the things that I'm going to need to support you in changing your reality and changing your life. That's if you want your life changed. If you don't, then let it stay the same. Let it stay the same. But click the link in the bio to get access to that. Click the link in the bio to become a paid member of my Substack if you're wanting to know right now and get more information on the series about building your multi-6-figure ecosystem. And let me just tell you, when it comes down to, if you're in business and you haven't hit your first 6 figures, thank you, my love, for these gifts and these likes. I won't be having, this is my last class of the year. The next thing I'm going to be focusing on is bringing in my last round of the Muse Activator, which is going to be starting on December 10th. The Muse Activator is a 4-figure program that I have. It's 8 weeks where I work with amazing women. My other light just went out. I work with amazing women in that to support them in activating their inner muses, which makes a huge difference because it inspires investment. Okay. So yeah, I won't be having another class this year. I have master classes kind of like quarterly, and I've already had one. And this class that I'm having right now is a bonus in addition to what's going on, because people really need to work on their reprogramming. Oh, excuse me, y'all. I'll be joining you shortly. I have to position myself. All right, girl, come on in. Come on in, darling. Would love to have you. The Muse Activator is absolutely amazing. I can't say that words become flesh. I can't say that that's gonna be a class that's gonna be by itself. I think it's gonna go into something. So I don't even know if that's gonna be available as a standalone resale. Okay. She said coming soon as well. All right, well, come on in. But okay, y'all, that's all I have. Let me hurry up and try to eat something real quick. Congratulations to those who are going to be in class on tomorrow. But yeah, class is tomorrow. It's going to be at 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. I'm breaking all these amazing things down that I talked about on today. And I hope that y'all are ready. And I'm graduating my my class today. I'm graduating my second cohort of the Muse Activated tonight. They're graduating. I'm going to miss them. I absolutely loved spending time with them these past 8 weeks. It's been absolutely amazing. They have been some amazing results. I asked my client last night on a client call, like we're doing our closeouts, what is the biggest thing, that biggest transformation for her? And she was like, I went from being extremely anxious to now I'm extremely self-assured. And thank you, hi Lovey, extremely self-assured. And that's what I want. Women need to be sure of themselves these days. Because if you're sure of yourself, then you can make decisions for yourself. You can make the proper decisions for yourself. And in the season that we're in and we are entering, going and further in, being able to discern is going to be so important. Your words, what you write in your womb, are pathways to wealth. Like, please don't allow society or people to block that. Don't block your own path, okay? So like I said, see you in class on tomorrow. All right. See you in class tomorrow for the ones who will be in class tomorrow. I'm really excited. I'm trying to think of what else. I think that's it, guys. So this is going up on YouTube. Click the link in the bio to subscribe to my YouTube channel as well, and go check out the videos where I'm breaking down the stuff I was talking about earlier. And yeah, I hope that y'all have an amazing day. Congratulations to those who will be in class. I see a couple of tickets got sold while we were on live. So I will see you guys. Y'all have an amazing day. And I'll talk to you soon. Yes, honey, you just missed it. But hopefully you'll be in class tomorrow. And if I'm going to put this on YouTube so you can catch this tonight. All right. So I hope that y'all have an amazing evening. Peace.